Welcome into Conversations with Paul Brown. Today we are at Wren Middle School, and our guest is Coach Jimmy Brown, who just recently was recognized in a very special way. We're going to talk about that.
When I was about 12, there was a guy named Dan Logan that formed a little church league basketball team. There were about 6 or 7 of us on that team at Orville Baptist Church. He got us together, and he was a young fellow himself. He died young at the age of, I think, about 38. Of cancer, but it was he that invested some time in a few boys that were looking for something to do, and it meant everything to me to know that someone would spend their time and invest it in the lives of young kids. It made a lasting impression on me.
You end up at McDuffie High School, which is no longer around.
That's right, that's correct.
And in going to McDuffie, your intent was to do what?
Well, I guess I was like a lot of kids at the time that didn't really know what was going to become of their life and what direction in life their road would take, but we seemed to always get there at some point in time. For me, getting to where I am right now, it was 8 or 9 years after graduation that I ended up here at Wren Middle School. After finishing Baker University in Kansas, I worked at my church, part-time youth and church recreation. I worked at the Anderson Dialysis Clinic for Dr. Bill Turner, who I owe a great debt of gratitude to for being a good mentor and role model in my life.
You went to Anderson College because it was 2 years. You knew you had to go somewhere for 2 more?
That's exactly right.
And tell me the story about how you end up in Kansas.
Well, I'm having a conversation with my uncle in Baldwin City one Sunday afternoon, and he asked me, he said, "What are your plans?" And I said, "I'm not sure." He said, "Well, I've got the perfect solution for you. Why don't you come out to Kansas, live with us, and you can go to Baker. We're only 2 blocks from the college, and it'll be a great opportunity for you." So that's what I did. I was somewhat apprehensive about leaving home and going so far away, but like I say, there are roads that we have to travel, and that was the road that I did travel, and it turned out okay.
While there, did you still have an indication of what you wanted to do as for an occupation?
Well, I knew that I wanted to be in some type of work with kids. I declared a major in physical education and got that degree while at Baker. It was about 2 years later that I went back and took some further education classes and got certification to teach.
At AC?
I actually went to Southern Wesleyan.
Oh, did
for
you?
that.
Okay, over in Central. Okay.
Yes, for a
All
few
right.
months and got my certification at Southern Wesleyan.
So now you're certified to teach?
Yes. I had student taught here in District 1 for Wayne Fowler at Spearman Elementary School, and also at Wren Elementary in Lakeside Middle in Anderson, and came over towards Spearman and Palmetto and this area searching out a job. And it wasn't long after that I was contacted by Mr. Greg Cantrell, who was the principal here at the time. He asked me to come in June 5th to be exact of 87, and with a handshake I walked out of the office and had the job here at Wren Middle School.
Our coach is Coach Jimmy Brown from up at Wren Middle School, and when we come back we're going to talk more with him. From a physical standpoint, what was Wren Middle when you first came here as far as buildings and student body?
Well, the
You remember?
student body size, we were overflowing. I think we were pushing maybe between 1,000 and 1,100 kids here when I came, and I had taught 5th and 6th grade PE at the time. We had 3 PE teachers here, and the 7th and 8th grade PE classes were in the gym, and I had the PE classes up on what they call the stage, which was the old auditorium stage that they used back when the school was first built. So we were bursting at the seams at the time. However, about 91 or 92, the voters passed a referendum to build a new middle school in Powdersville, and they took maybe 400 to 500 of our kids and started a new middle school, so it loosened things up here for us.
And there was some expansion here too at Wren Middle.
Yes, we've had a couple over
Yeah.
the years.
Could you have left Wren Middle if you'd wanted to?
Yes, I could have left Wren Middle. Matter of fact, a time or two, I thought about it. I mean, I drive from the Creightonville area of Belton every day, so I drive 30 minutes to work, 30 minutes home. But once you get into Wren Middle and you get in the culture, there's not a better place to be. And that's why I never left.
Getting these kids between elementary and high school.
Right.
What do you see as your responsibility and your mission to prepare these young kids?
Number one is the mission, I think, is to develop a relationship with a kid. Let them know that you care, because kids come from diverse backgrounds. Here at Wren Middle, we love kids. We're supposed to like kids. Some of them, we may wonder about that sometimes, but we better love them. I was told that by one of the superintendents. I don't remember which one. He said, you better always love kids that you have in class and kids that you coach, and they need to know that you love them. For us here at Wren Middle, it's the way we care for the kids. We adopt them like family and want to see them through. I mean, kids need love, they need confidence, they need some of those intangibles that they can't get anywhere else. And at Wren Middle, we want to do that for our kids. It's emphasized.
The emotion you feel when they leave here and go across the street to the freshman academy and you've succeeded with them, what kind of a feeling wells over you?
It's the greatest feeling in the world to know that you once touched the life of a kid and you see them go on to bigger and better things. Here, some of them were trying to find the way. They were trying to discover who they actually are, which path they should take in life, and it gives a great deal of satisfaction to see kids succeed. I look back to when I was in middle school and some of the insecurities that I had. I was grateful for those teachers that huddled me up and gave me a word of encouragement and gave me a pat on the back when I needed it.
How important it is for these youngsters to have male teachers in their lives, do you think?
I think it's very important. You know, traditionally we've seen a lot of women that are in the teaching profession, and a few males have gone into it.
Right.
We probably have as many males on staff as we've ever had, and it is a great profession to be in if you're a male, because young boys are looking up to a role model, and they find that many times in that male teacher that they have.
Tell me about coaching at this level.
Presently, I'm involved with just football here at Wren Middle School, but I did do basketball for about 17 or 18 years, and back in 2009, I gave up the basketball program. I coached for several years and was out for about 4 years, got back into basketball for about a total of 17 years, but I've been doing football on the middle school level for 33 years, including the year in Colorado. I'll be finishing my 33rd year. This is a very rewarding age. It can be trying at times, but these kids love spending fall afternoons back here on the practice field. There's been a lot of sweat and tears and what have you back on that field. A lot of life lessons have been taught back there. That's our goal, to teach life lessons through athletics. And even as coaches, we don't understand that when we were first entering this profession. But as we get older and mature, we see the bigger picture much better.
For the young men that go through that program and they leave Wren Middle, they leave Wren High School, they go on, do they have something to look back on in a special way that the kids that didn't participate in football might not have?
You know, possibly so. I think every kid, you know, they develop their own memories going through this process. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, 4 years of high school, 7 years. I think everybody develops their own memories and traditions and things like that. But for the guys that I've had, they seem to have enjoyed it. I still hear from them. I see them in the community, and I'm coaching my second generation now. So they do look back with a great deal of fondness, and that's why we try to create a positive environment on the field. About 20 years ago, one of the coaches that was there at the high school at the time offered me a suggestion. He said, Jimmy, he said, don't cut a kid at the middle school. I said, now, wait a minute. I said, you understand what that means? He said, I know exactly what it means. He says, you're going to be bursting at the seams with kids. So I haven't cut in many, many years. So any kid, boy or girl, I've had girls on my football team, if they come out for Wren Middle School football team and want to spend the fall afternoons with me, they've got a uniform, they've got a helmet. We'll try to fit them into something. The South Carolina Middle School Coach of the Year, wonder if I was the only person on the nomination for him, but I won that award for the state of South Carolina. And I've been humbled and speechless since that time. There's so many people in the state that could have received that award. I'm humbled that it happened to me, and I feel unworthy, but we'll take one for Wren Middle in District 1 because that's who it's for.
Right.
It's for all the kids that have ever been through here through a physical education class. It's been on the football field, basketball court, you name it, a volleyball court, been a cheerleader, manager, scorekeepers, the chain crews. It's for everybody, not just me. That needs to be made clear.
Yeah.
You're only as strong as the people that you have around you. And we've been blessed to have good people here at Wren Middle School.
As you look in your crystal ball, what lies in the not too distant future for you, Coach?
Well, I think I'm good for next year. After next year, I'm not sure.
Because next year you'll be a total of...
it'll be 34 total coaching middle school football, and next year we'll have finished 33 years here at Wren Middle.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and
Join the club.
you've got to, I've got to think about a few things, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing lasts forever, so I've always kept that in mind.
What do
I
you
wish
like
it
to
could.
do when you're not here?
I love the garden.
Okay.
I've got 3 or 4 acres where I live, so I piddle a lot. I've got a granddaughter now, Anna Shaw, that I love being around. I love to travel, especially to go to Wyoming
Yeah.
and hang out there in the summertime for a week or two.
In a nutshell, your assessment of the education that our kids are receiving today compared to when you started teaching 30 plus years ago. We got all this digital stuff.
But things have changed. I mean, it used to be teachers walked out with chalk from the wrist to the elbow, chalkboards. The technology certainly has its place. It's come with the changing of times. But I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both the old system and to the new system. Only time will tell.
Our coach has been Wren Middle School coach Jimmy Brown, who was named the South Carolina Middle School Coach of the Year, and that entails a lot of middle schools in South Carolina and a lot of other coaches. And for what you did and how you represent Anderson County, Coach, thank you so very much. And we want to thank each of you for tuning in and invite you to be back with us next week, same time, for our next edition of Conversations with Paul Brown. Until then, take care, everybody.